And what happens is the male sperm gets up into the womb and it goes all the way through the entire cavity of the uterus up into the fallopian tubes. And around that same time, the egg is released from the ovary in a really amazing process. The fallopian tube, by some mysterious force, is able to direct that egg into the fallopian tube. Down towards the end of the fallopian tube is where fertilization occurs. In that moment of fertilization, when that sperm penetrates the egg, it's been shown electron microscopically that there's a flash of light. That should be remarkable to anybody who hears such a thing. These are inescapable truths of science that dictate evidence for life. So now, what's more evidence that this is actually a living being based on this process? Well, if it wasn't alive and it wasn't living, it would stop right there, right? But it doesn't. Not only do you have a flash of light, that one cell that comes together and all of a sudden divides into 2, and then to 4, and then to 8, and then to 16. And you got this little ball and nest of cells actively dividing kind of on its own. And I don't know about anybody else, but as far as I know, that's something that's alive doing that. You can't have something do that if it's not alive. The egg gets down into the fallopian tube, and then by the time it gets into the uterine cavity, it's like a ball of cells with a cystic center called the blastocyst. And that's what actually embeds on the uterine wall and takes up shop, basically. It sets up connections with the placenta to mom's vasculature, and that's where oxygen-nutrient exchange occurs between now the growing fetus. But up until that point, it's still alive, because if it wasn't alive, it couldn't do any of that. And this occurs day 14 or so of a woman's cycle. And so around day 21 or 22 of her cycle, you could detect the sense that she's pregnant, because once that blastocyst embeds into the wall of the uterus, it forms the placenta, and it sends out specialized cells that basically make connections, and those cells themselves actually produce pregnancy hormone, beta-HCG, which is what we test in laboratories and what women test on home pregnancy tests.
Essentially, what you're trying to say is the whole process of fertilization and embryonic development, it's alive. So would you confidently say that if a girl tests positive on a pregnancy test, she has a living baby or a living human being inside of her?
Absolutely. By the time that pregnancy hormone is even detectable in the bloodstream, that's a living baby. There's no question about it. It's a life. Is it a baby with fingers, toes, arms, and legs yet? No, not yet. But very soon, because the process is super fast. A girl misses her period after about 28, 29 days. She's late. She does a pregnancy test. She's pregnant. 2 weeks after that, there's going to be a heartbeat already. 6 weeks after the missed period, the baby's completely formed, completely done. Fingers, toes, arms, legs, all the organs. It's that big. If you could get a magnifier up, you can see a little baby in there. So what happens to that little baby from that point on? It just grows. It's just got to mature. If we take the book at its word, God is a light being. We are all children and creations of Him. So we are portions of Him. So we are portions of that light. So of course, if we're going to be created, we're going to have that light come into being. So right then and there, you know something significant happened.